Tenders and drafts in the hockey world. This video is going to be super loaded with information, so pay attention, take notes, and ask questions. In junior hockey, when you sign a tender, it means that the team is acquiring your rights. Depending on the league you sign a tender in, it effectively removes you from the pool of free agency. But we're going to get into that shortly. Signing a tender is typically done before the draft or right after the draft as someone squeaked through. Players who are eligible for tenders are underagers or guys who haven't been drafted yet. The reason teams will use tenders is to lock in key pieces that will lead to the success of their team in the coming years. It's a strategic decision for both teams and players. For teams, because they're going to get the top guys they want that they know will be successful in their teams. And the players, the reason you're signing a tender is because you want to lock yourself in an organization that you see yourself developing, you see yourself getting playing time, and you see yourself having a great time playing hockey. So for both sides, it's a strategic decision. Now, tenders don't work the same in every league. They're a little bit different. And I want to make it clear that signing a tender doesn't guarantee you a spot in the team. All it does is say that that organization owns your rights as a hockey player. The playing time still depends on performance and other factors. Tendering in sanctioned leagues, the USHL and the NHL. Once you tender, your rights are owned within that league. So for instance, if you tender in the NHL, no other NHL team can come after you. However, you can go up to the USHL and tender in the USHL. Often unlikely, but it is doable. To move to another team within that league, you will need to be traded or released. If you're trying to go from Tier 2 in the States to Tier 2 in Canada, you will need to be transferred USA Hockey to Hockey Canada, and there is an approval process. Typically, players that are tendered are 16, 17, and maybe 18 years old. Older guys usually just make it out of camp. Leagues allow teams to have a limited number of tenders every season. In the USHL, you're allowed 2 tenders per team per season. This is before the Phase 1 draft. In doing so, if you use your 2 tenders, you lose your first 2-round picks. So it's kind of a give or take. You're going to draft them in the first round anyways, you might as well sign them beforehand, before somebody else does. Tendered players have to participate in at least 55% of the games in that coming season, which is why the USHL is extremely selective about players they tender. Tendering in an unsanctioned league, and now we just open the doors to chaos. So, when you tender in an unsanctioned league, you're only tendering within that league. Your rights are free amongst all the other leagues, both sanctioned and unsanctioned. To be moved within that specific league, you need to be traded or released. However, if you tender in the NCDC, and you decide 2 days before season you want to go play in the EHL, you are free to do so without being released, without being traded, because both are unsanctioned. Same if you were to go the NCDC to the CCHL. However, once you're in the CCHL, you now fall under sanctioned rules and need to be traded or released. Again, I want to emphasize, being tendered does not guarantee you a spot on a team, does not guarantee you ice time. All it guarantees you is that a team likes you enough to give you an opportunity. Now it's for you to take it or not. The BCHL is the only unsanctioned league that does not do tenders. Now, in Canadian Tier 2 leagues, sanctioned hockey, we're talking the AJ, the MJ, the SJ, the CC, the OJ, the Quebec League, the Maritime League, the SIJ, the NOJ. There's 2 types of letters. There's the letter of intent and the letter of consent. Here's the main differences. The letter of intent is an agreement you sign before signing the official Hockey Canada playing card. Because every team has a limited number of playing cards. You are basically signing a letter of intent, meaning as of June 1st, the team will submit you on one of their official Hockey Canada player cards. They can't do that before June 1st, but as of June 1st, they can. So that letter of intent is a guarantee of a player card. Usually a letter of intent means you're on the team. Usually, not 100% sure. You can still be cut, you can still be traded, you can still be released. They just like you that much that they're giving you a letter of intent, meaning you're intended to be on the team as of June 1st. It's used by both Junior A and Junior B. Once you sign the letter of intent, you are no longer a free agent within any sanctioned hockey league. Meaning if you sign a letter of intent in Manitoba, a team in the CCHL cannot come and get you. They need to trade for you or you need to be released. The spot on the team is not guaranteed, but it really does mean the team likes you. So as long as you show up to training camp ready as you should have and you trained all summer, you shouldn't be worried. Playing time, that's a different story. Now, the letter of consent. Letter of consent is completely different. If you sign a letter of consent, it means within that league specifically, you can't go to another team. It's a little bit like the unsanctioned tenders. If I go to Saskatchewan and sign a letter of consent with a team, that means within the Saskatchewan league, they hold my rights on their 60-man roster. So I go to camp and I still have to earn a spot. It doesn't mean I'm guaranteed. It doesn't mean that the door is open for me. It doesn't mean they're using a player card. I have to earn my spot at camp. But it does mean they locked me up to make sure that no other team in the league can touch me. So I'm on their 60-man roster. Now, if I decide to go there and at camp I'm not happy, I don't like it here, and I want to go to the OJ, I can pick up and leave because my letter of consent is only within that specific league. It is not within the other sanctioned leagues across Canada. So within that league, traded or released. To other leagues, you don't have to. And that's the main difference between the letter of consent and the letter of intent. When it comes to the CHL in junior hockey, Quebec League, the OHL, and the WHL, they don't use tenders. They use a draft system. Every single year they have a draft. In the WHL, it's the Bantam draft. In the OHL, it's the U16 draft, the U18 draft. In the Quebec League, it's the midget draft or the U18 draft, U18, U17. They also have an import draft for American and European players because each league has their own American territory. Now, major junior teams are allowed to sign players, but they're signing them to a commitment, to a scholarship, to a contract. When they sign a player, it's because they're bringing him in the next season. So just like the USHL, if they're going to sign a guy, they're very particular about who it is to make sure that he fits their program next season. Usually, they'll go draft younger players and have them in the system. Now, once you're drafted, they own your rights until you're 20 years old, unless you're traded or released. So they can bring you to camp every year and still decide to cut you because you didn't perform as you were supposed to. Now, all this to say is, when you're choosing the right opportunity, do your research. If you have multiple tenders, multiple LOIs on the table, and the only thing you can't factor in is the draft because that's out of your control. But look at the development plans. The team's plans, your plans specifically, how they see you. Look at the roster depth. Are you fighting with 3 guys or are you fighting with 12 guys? Playing time opportunity. They'll never guarantee you ice time, but you can look into how often their younger guys play. Is it a younger system? Is it an older system? Is he going for the cup? Is he rebuilding? These are all factors you need to look into when you're making your decision. Making the decision for junior hockey is definitely not easy. There's a lot of research that goes into it. You'll never be able to make the perfect decision. However, you can get enough information to make sure that what you choose is down the right path. Now, what happens once you get there is all in your hands. The way you work, the way you act on and off the ice will determine your ice time and your overall experience. So choose wisely and get to work. If you found this video informative, click this one, they might be helpful as well.